Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to cut through all the noise around one of the biggest buzzwords out there, the cloud. We're going to break down what it really means for small and medium-sized businesses just like yours, and we'll map out a clear path from where you might be today to where you could be. So yeah, let's just dive right in. First up, let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like your own tech, the servers, the software, the endless updates, is more like an anchor holding you back than a launch pad for growth? If you're nodding your head right now, you are definitely in the right place. For the longest time, there was really only one way to do things. The old way meant you had to own these big, clunky, expensive servers. You know the ones. They're probably sitting in a closet somewhere, collecting dust, needing constant attention, and always running out of space when you need it most. The new way, the cloud, is all about swapping those limits for pure flexibility, power, and the ability to grow at a moment's notice. Okay, so let's dig into those limits a little bit more. What are the actual day-to-day headaches that come with sticking to that old-school on-premise model? It really just boils down to three main things. First, the cost. The huge upfront cost to buy the hardware, plus all the money you keep pouring into it just for maintenance. Second, it's just not flexible. You can't just snap your fingers and get more server power for a big sale. And that third point is the real killer. It makes scaling an absolute nightmare. Your growth should be a celebration, not a logistical crisis. All right, so that's the problem. How exactly does the cloud fix it? I know the term itself can feel kind of vague, so let's decode the jargon together. Think of this next part as your personal translator for all things cloud. First on our list is IaaS, which stands for Infrastructure as a Service. This is like the bedrock, the foundation of the cloud. The best analogy, imagine you're renting a plot of land. You get the raw space, the virtual servers, the storage, and you can build literally whatever you want on it. You get the most control, but you also have the most work to do. Okay, next up is PaaS, or Platform as a Service. So if IaaS is renting the land, PaaS is like renting a fully equipped workshop. The building's already there, all the power tools are plugged in and ready to go. You just show up with your blueprints and start building. It's absolutely perfect for developers who want to focus on creating apps, not managing servers. And finally, the one most of us are using every single day, maybe without even realizing it, SaaS, or Software as a Service. To finish our analogy, this is like renting a fully furnished, move-in-ready office. Everything, your email, your sales software, your accounting tools, it's all set up and managed for you. You just log in and get to work. Simple as that. So here's a quick look at how they all stack up. IaaS is the land. PaaS is the workshop you put on that land. And SaaS is the finished office you work in. The most important thing to remember here is that your business can use one, two, or all three of these. It's all about mixing and matching to fit what you need. Now, beyond the type of service, you also get to choose how it's all set up. A public cloud is kind of like living in a massive, shared apartment building run by giants like Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure. A private cloud, on the other hand, is like owning your own private house. It's all yours, giving you maximum control. And a hybrid cloud? Well, that's the best of both worlds. Okay, we've cracked the code. We know the language now. So let's get to the most important part. How do you actually get from here to there? This is where we lay out the map for your journey from a simple idea to a full-blown reality. But before we take our first step, we have to tackle the big question, the one that's usually the first roadblock for anyone considering this move. With all your company's data living out there on the internet, how safe is it? Really? 136%. Just look at that number. What is that? Well, that's the projected increase in cloud-based cyber attacks. Now hold on. That number isn't meant to scare you away from the cloud. It's here to show you exactly why a solid security plan isn't some optional add-on. It has to be the absolute foundation of this entire journey. It's step zero. And that is why we always start with a proper plan. This four-step framework is your strategic map. First, you've got to identify your objectives. What are you actually trying to accomplish here? Then, you do a really honest cost-benefit analysis. Third, a deep dive on the risks, which of course includes security. And finally, you create a detailed migration plan to make sure the move is smooth. And to make that plan even more real, here's your tactical checklist. You're going to evaluate your specific needs, choose that perfect mix of services, IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, check out providers carefully, plan the moves step by step, and you guessed it, build security into every single phase from the very beginning. All right, theory is great and all, but what does success actually look like in the real world? Let's take a look at a couple of stories from businesses that have already made the climb and are enjoying the view from the top. Now, that is a result you can take to the bank. A 50% jump in online sales in a single quarter. Just think about what that would mean for your business. This comes from a retail company, Greenleaf Organics. So Greenleaf's problem was a common one. They were practically invisible online. By building their e-commerce store on Amazon Web Services, they didn't just get a new website. They saw that massive 50% sales boost, and they slashed their operating costs by 40%. It's a textbook case of what a smart cloud strategy can do. And how about this one? A 30% cost reduction while also achieving pretty much perfect 99.9% uptime. That's the dream, right? Lower costs and better performance. This was the reality for Brightwave Marketing, a company that was really getting held back by their old IT. You see, their marketing campaigns would create these huge spikes in website traffic, and their old servers just couldn't keep up. They kept crashing. By moving to Microsoft Azure, they could instantly scale up for a big campaign and then scale right back down when things got quiet. The result? They saved a ton of money, became way more reliable, and turned a major headache into a real competitive advantage. So, you've made the journey, you've reached the summit, you're in the cloud. But the work doesn't stop there. The landscape is always shifting. So let's talk for a minute about how to navigate what's coming next. Looking ahead, compliance isn't a one-and-done task. It's something you have to stay on top of. That means constantly keeping an eye on your vendors, understanding things like data sovereignty, which is just a fancy term for laws about where in the world your data can be stored, and making sure everything is locked down with strong encryption. Keeping up with the rules is how you stay safe out there. And let's end on one final thought, a look way into the future. The next huge wave in technology is quantum computing, and it has the potential to break all of the encryption we use today. The big cloud providers are already working on quantum-safe security. So the real final question isn't just about being ready for the cloud today, but about being ready for what comes next. Is your business ready for the quantum era?